where we are going now, some magic happens. In there. You're through to Oi Works with the Baldy Brit Bloke. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Oi, how are you doing? So in this video, we're back on YouTube's favourite little nugget. Do a front mount licence plate. Got to scoot over to Kitchener to get the spark plugs done on there and start some preparation for a bit of paint correction on there. Nothing particularly exciting. Before we go any further, you know what comes next. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoy the content, please make sure to poke that like button. Please share, please comment. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please bounce over there, you'll enjoy it. It's oi_works, and on there I share some daily shenanigans and also sneak peeks at the projects. I had a good week on the YouTube front, got 7 new subscribers this week, which doesn't sound earth-shattering, but for me that's quite an accomplishment. You know who you are, so thank you very, very much. I also have some good news at the end of this video, so be patient with me. Grab a comfy chair, grab a tea, sit back, relax, and come along for the ride. I'll see you very soon. Let's start off with Colleen's nose. Oi, how's everyone doing? I have a tow-hook license plate holder. So like every responsible adult, I am about to install it so that I have a front license plate on the bumper as opposed to sitting on the dashboard or strapped to the back of the sun visor. I bought one of these for Abby, the Audi. I had to modify it because I prefer the look that's more European, where if the license plate is not central and it's on one of the corners of the car, the holder is sitting tighter towards the bumper, and so when people drive past or see the vehicle from the side, they don't see all the bolts on the back of it. So I'm expecting that once I've figured out how I'm going to actually have this installed, I will have to modify this one slightly too, so that I get the desired look. I will shut up talking now, pop this out, try and figure out how this all bolts together, and let's see what happens. Follow along for a few giggles at my expense. That's where it needs to go, like that. Because I may have just messed up my bumper for nothing. Oh well, at first you don't succeed. Cheat. Oh no, that's wrong. Try again. It's back to the drawing board. Oi! It's the next day. I'm just filling up that hole that I made in here. I plastic welded it last night and I'm just putting some splodges of body filler on it. But what I'm going to do now is just touch up the chips on the front of the hood, the front of the fenders, up the windshield pillars and across the front of the windshield. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do these little front bits. I did up there last night just to see how it came up. These little front bits of the fender, up this window pillar and across here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to buff it with the paint correction pads. I don't think the little touch-ups that I'm doing on the chips will hardly be noticeable then. But I just wanted to do it before it starts bubbling. Above the windshield there's a few chips that have started to bubble, so I'm going to just dust them lightly with fine bit of sandpaper and then touch them up as well with the touch-up paint. I'll shut up and let's get on with it. What's with the funny faces? Yeah, he's always been a bit of an odd duck. Here's the tow hook cover. So I bonded it quickly last night and welded it, and it's gone well, but I'm going to have to respray this and give it another coat of the clear coat. Bit of a pain, but live and learn, right? So that's just got the finish coat of Bondo on it. I'll have to sand that down and give it another light skim of it, and then I just have to spot it for primer on that point, and then I'll have to spray it. I'm going to leave it out here in the garage because it's warmer, and for doing stuff like this I just use crappy little brushes from Dollarama or Dollar Tree. What tends to happen with the little touch-up paint pots that I get, or that we get, is it dries extremely quickly, so it knackers the brushes and you can't use them again. And this tiny little pot, whoosh! The smell is strong. I won't need the little step up, so I'll just be floating 6 or 8 inches off the floor. Far out, baby. All those little white spots or specks that you can see, they are chips in the paint, and that's what I'm touching up here. Poor girl looks like she's got chicken pox. I wasn't going to film this, but I thought it might be of some interest, because you'll see in a few months' time why it is I'm doing this. Poke that subscribe button. Believe me, you won't want to miss this. Now I've got to scoot into work quickly, and when I get back, I've got a back appointment at midday. When I get back from that, I've got to go and get the little fastenings to put the front license plate on in the position that I want to put it on. So that's going to be interesting. And I also got to paint this. Toodle pip for the time being, and I'll see you soon. I'm back! So the idea is, just to keep it simple now, to put the plate here. I've got to make sure that I do the fixed fastener here, so it doesn't interfere with this. And then here, I'm not hiding this cracked piece here. Sweet. Sweet Caroline. This is what I'm using. They have a nut in them, a brass nut, and they actually squeeze as the nut is done up, and what that does is it pushes against the side of the drill hole, which is a much less stressful action for applying the force than to put something behind it. that expands out, because what I'm afraid of doing if I do something like that, like I did on the spoiler, the back of her, is because this is plastic, it will distort the shape of the plastic and may actually change the shape slightly up here, which might be noticeable. This piece here, if it was available from Nissan, which it isn't, this one strip would be $300, and as far as I'm aware, unless somebody that's watching this knows any different, the Chrome edition of the Nissan Cube, the parts aren't available anymore, so I can't buy the front or back bumper brand new. I have to buy them reconditioned from one of these bumper places, or I have to try and get a salvaged one. And unfortunately, neither of those options are available up in Canada at the moment. Let's get this done. Oi, oi. Shout out to Chris and Samantha at CarQuest in Hamilton on Parkdale. Thanks for always being so helpful and welcoming, and for sorting me out with these fasteners for the front mount license plate. These are what I'm going to be bolting the license plate into. One here, and one here. I'm well happy with that. Back with this. And while I'm on this, I'll show you the other pieces that I've got to do. One of them I won't be able to do, it's not worth repairing because it's pretty badly beaten up. But in here, well, you can't really see it. I'll show you this first then. I turned around in the driveway just the other day. You can't really see it there pretty well. But instead of driving in frontwards like I always do, I reversed in at an angle and then drove straight out, and it smacked the exhaust up and bust all this, which is the piece that I repaired. There's very little structural rigidity in there, it's just got the stainless steel gauze behind, so long as it wasn't hit, it was relatively robust. But being smacked up underneath, because this was all melted by the original exhaust in the accident, there's no structure to it. So it's actually caused the bumper to ripple up here somewhere, and quite badly knackered that. I am unsure if I'm going to repair it or actually buy a replacement one. With a new one, it'll be much stronger, so if there's ever a chance of this happening again, it should just pop back into shape. See that shiny up here? And this is matte. Well, this part was quite badly orange peeled, and there was a couple of dribbles in here, so I sanded it back very vigorously, took it back to primer in some spots, and I'm going to recoat that as well. Tomorrow I'm bouncing over to see my friends at JP Powder Coating, James. He's going to be doing the spark plugs on here for me, and also replacing that TPMS that's broken on the back thing there, on the back wheel there. A quick few layers of base coat and a bit of clear coat, and no one will ever know there was a hole drilled in this. I'm well happy with how that came out. It just finishes it off, and it looks kind of cute too. So yeah, well pleased with that front mount license plate. Now that the cap's all painted in, she's looking good. Bright and early next morning, I scooted off to meet some of my mates in Kitchener at JP Powder Coating. Trust me, these blokes are artists. I love coming here. I could stay all day and just watch. Gotta love this wrap, so eye-catching. There's goodness everywhere. I'm going to take you inside and show you an engine that they're working on. It is absolutely stunning. Would you look at this? It should be in an art gallery, not in a car. I don't know what size that turbo is, but I could almost fit my fist in there. And there's another little gem back here. This is a Bora 4Motion from England. So it means that the steering wheel and the driver sits on the correct side of the car, as in the right side. This is James's motor, and it's going to be a rip-roarer. I didn't see these little gems very often in England. They're rare, quite rare, like the proverbial rocking horse poop. Beautiful roll cage inside. More goodness. And a twin turbo setup. Nothing too surprising here, a little bit grubby and needed changing. Did I just imagine it, or is she feeling more peppy too? Back home now, I just wanted to make a special point of thanking James at JP Powder Coating for doing the spark plugs for me. I am still a little bit cautious when it comes to bolts needing to be undone where it's been hot and cold because of the experience that I had with the manifold to catalyst bolts underneath Colleen. If anything goes wrong on things like that, I'm limited as to what I can do to get around the problem. Bouncing Colleen over there, it took him less than 2 hours to do the spark plugs, which are actually hidden underneath the intake manifold, and they're teeny tiny, almost like lawnmower spark plugs, but they're flipping 20 bucks each. I couldn't believe it. So he did those for me, changed the TPMS sensor on the back driver's side wheel, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to get rid of that tyre warning light now. Yeah, it's been a good week for this little bubby. Now I'm going to take you outside and show you the good news. Here she is. Sally is back. So in a couple of weeks, I'm not too sure if I'll get it done next week, but in a couple of weeks there will just be a finishing off video on her. I picked her up from the structural inspection station on yesterday, Saturday morning, as there was a couple of things that needed doing for her safety inspection. So I got those buttoned up yesterday. It was a bit of a panic, as sudden extra projects on the weekend, although when they're good news like this, make it a bit crammed for getting editing done on the videos that I'm about to release. So anyway, she is back. I love her, very happy with her. She's come back with a few extra battle scars than when I dropped her off, but she's been there for probably, she's been at the structural inspection station for probably 2 months. So they were quite grateful for me to take her off their hands for the weekend while I worked on her. So, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoy the content, please make sure to poke that like button. Please turn on your post notifications. Please share and please comment. That, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brings us to the end of this next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday. Toodle pip.